Good evening to all of you and very warm welcome, which is very necessary in this breezy winter evening. Today we have a session which is very, very important, creating the young leaders in association with ECOM and Ahmedabad Management Association. Ahmedabad Management Association was established by late Dr. Vikram Sarabhai in 1956. This complex is already 25 years old. We have a multiple program and activities happening here, that is management development program, export import program, and postgraduate 6 months different management program, affiliation with California State University. In fact, AMA initial, that is Ahmedabad Management Association, could well stand with always moving ahead. So with this, I am just taking the permission to introduce today our great speaker, Sri Krishnaji. Sri Krishnaji is a mystic, philosopher, and enlightened master of our times. He is known for its original teachings, meditation practices, and mystic processes that have helped millions in India and many nations across the world. They are renowned for their global peace efforts through the ECOM World Peace Festival, a meditation festival that has millions participating from over 100 nations, all from the world across. Their purpose is to awaken the human consciousness from agitation to peace, separation to connection, and division to oneness. In 2002, Sri Krishnaji undertook the mammoth project of creating the gigantic architectural marvel of ECOM, that is World Center of Enlightenment, and that is completed in 2008 for the awakening the humanity's consciousness. They co-authored the US-based selling The Four Sacred Secrets in 2018. Sri Krishnaji, the most unique contribution to the world is the creation of the ECOM World Peace Festival to tilt the balance of world consciousness away from violence towards the peace. As a family, Sri Prithaji and Sri Krishnaji and their daughter Loka created the Loka Foundation. This foundation is enriching the lives of youth globally and 1,000 villages around the ECOM. The youth program have impacted the lives of more than 5 lakh students in India and abroad. The foundation works with the several colleges and schools of India to nurture the young people into conscious leaders and the change maker in this world. With this, on behalf of all of you, on behalf of AMA, I welcome Sri Krishnaji with the flower and bouquet.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Namaste.
तालियां बजाने में कंजूसी मत करो.
Not taking much time, now I welcome Sri Krishnaji for his enlightened words, thoughts, which can motivate us and put us into the practice. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir.
Sure.
So now stage is all yours.
So wonderful being with all of you here today. And Shri Preetaji and I, my wife is Preetaji, we both are co-creators of ECOM, the Asia's largest pillarless hall, which can house 8,000 people to meditate. And the reason And I built it I started the project when I was 19 years old and built it by 26. And the reason ACOM is built is to bring about enlightenment in this world. So our work is to create enlightened leaders, enlightened youngsters, enlightened parents, enlightened friends, enlightened brothers, and enlightened sisters. And the enlightenment that I am going to talk to you about today is not about an enlightenment where you're going to renounce everything in the world and you need to go into a forest and meditate and start disliking what you're doing and be detached with what you're doing and try to achieve something which is called enlightenment. No, that's not the enlightenment I am talking about. The enlightenment that Shri Preetaji and I preach across the world and talk across the world is Buddha driving an eco-friendly Benz with his loved ones. So here, Buddha doesn't mean the historical Buddha itself. Buddha here reflects to the inner state, the inner, beautiful, peaceful state. The eco-friendly Benz resembles all the abundance that you can have in your life. Beautiful relationships, success, achievement, good health, all that represents eco-friendly Benz. And the loved ones are your friends and your family members. All of you together traveling in this eco-friendly Benz in an enlightened state. That is the vision of our work. And both of us, and my daughter, we are very passionate about youngsters because I strongly believe that the world, the direction the world is heading in the next 30, 40 years, which you also know, be it climate change, be it economic crisis, be it wars that are coming up, be it the division that's happening, separation that's happening, be it so many systems that are collapsing, family values, everything that's happening in the world today at a rapid pace. We need young people who are living in a powerful inner state to handle these challenges. I strongly believe that if you can learn to live in an enlightened state, then you can change the course of this world. Because next 30 years, you are going to face much bigger challenges than what I faced. My daughter, who is now 19 years old, is going to face a lot more challenges than what I faced. And I am facing a lot more challenges than what my parents and my grandparents faced. This is the truth of reality because the world is moving at a rapid pace and the changes are happening at a rapid pace. What you are learning today might become redundant tomorrow. How many of you are already using Chat GPT or something, the new one, which is all artificial intelligence? How many of you are using it? Well, it can write essays, it can write poems, it can write songs, it can make music, it can talk and do everything virtually, right? Already students have started writing assignments through this powerful app. So the world is changing as we are talking. So our vision is to handle these challenges, handle these problems as we go along. So what is enlightenment? So we have to understand what is enlightenment. For this, I want you to understand two important concepts. First, enlightenment means that I am able to handle life's situations from a beautiful state. That I am able to handle any problem and any challenge that I have by not living in stress. How many of you here experience stress in your life? Stress through education, stress through finances, stress through health, stress through relationships. How many of you? Any one of this area, you 100% have stress. If you're not having stress, you're already a Buddha in this room. Every one of you are experiencing stress. How do I live my life stress-free, irrespective of the challenges and the problems that I'm going to face in my life? How many of you here believe that you will actually have a life that does not have any problems? That does not have any problems. Very? Very privileged. Oh my God, okay. Okay, there's one person here who believes that he has no problems at all, but that's okay, that's nature. 1% will always be, it's never, there's no principle that it's 100%. Okay, good, you also have no problems. Wonderful. So we have two people here who have no problems, but everybody else have problems. I have problems. I had a huge problem getting to your hall, sitting in the traffic jam. Okay, so that was a problem that the government definitely needs to solve. Too much pollution and too much traffic. But anyways, the first understanding of enlightenment is how can I live in a stress-free state irrespective of my challenges, irrespective of my problems. Because as problems arise, you move into stress, you move into anxious, you move into fear, you move into anger, you move into hurt, you move into loneliness, you move into depression. All this happens. How can I handle the problems without these things happening to me, without these emotions happening to me? And how fast can I come out of this from these negative emotions? If I'm hurt, how fast can I come out of my hurt? If I'm in anger, how fast can I come out of my anger? If I'm in fear, how fast can I come out of my fear and address these challenges? Is the first aspect to enlightenment. Are you all getting it? Okay, the second aspect to enlightenment is to actually live in a state of oneness. Oneness is the highest state a human being can experience as an enlightened state. And what does that mean? It means moving beyond judgments, moving beyond division, and moving beyond a sense of separation. Many saints and sages of India, believe me, many business leaders that I have met who run massive corporations, many celebrities I have met, all of them have gone through this experience in their life through some process or the other where they have felt that their self has dissolved and that they're one with everything, that they're one with this universe. That is the ultimate state of enlightenment. But before we get to the ultimate state of enlightenment, you must learn to live in a beautiful state. So world over, I go about teaching this very important teaching that we as human beings, irrespective of our nationality, color, religion, sex, whoever we are, age, we only learn to live, we only experience life from two states, and that there is no third state. A stressful state and a beautiful state. As you look into yourself, be it with your parents, be it with your lecturers, be it with your friends, it could be a girlfriend, it could be a boyfriend, be it with anything in life, you are experiencing life only from two states of being, and that there is no third state. So if I'm experiencing life only from two states, then the most important question of my life becomes, what is the state that I have to live my life from? What are these suffering states? What are these stressful states? Can any one of you tell me here? What are the stressful states that you experience? Fear, hurt, confusion, anger, insecurity, jealousy, expectations, anxiety, overthinking. Oh, okay, overthinking. Okay, pleasure, hurt. Yes. So all these states that you have just now said are all suffering states. So if you bring a little bit of attention and if you start seeing which is the state that you're relating and living your life from, you will start observing that most of the time, not all of the time, because if you do it all of the time, you'll go crazy, but most of the time, you are living your life from a very stressful state. You're stressed about your relationships, you're stressed about your finances, you're stressed about your future, you're stressed about making decisions, you are stressed about what's going to happen to your exams, you're stressed about whether I'm doing the right thing, whether I'm studying the right thing. There is stress surrounding your body, your mind, and your brain. This is the state you're predominantly used to. The state that I want you all to learn to live in is a beautiful state. And what are beautiful states? Peace is a beautiful state. Connection, ecstasy, clarity, love, joy, very good conversation which could lead to happiness, okay? Energetic. Transparency, okay, that's interesting. Satisfaction, security, gratefulness, efficiency. So these are the beautiful states. How many of you here want to live in a beautiful state? How many of you here want to be free of stressful states? We all want to be free of stressful states, right? And we do not want others to cause stress to us. And we should also not be causing stress to others. So these are the only two states that you are experiencing your life from. Whether you're a 3-year-old child or you're a 100-year-old human being, whether you are a woman or a man, whether you are a Japanese, Chinese, Indian, American, anybody on this planet, there is no third state. Now let's move into a small 2 minutes reflective meditation here. I want you all to close your eyes. Please close your eyes. And in these 2 minutes, I want you to bring your awareness to the most important relationship of your life. It could be anything. Now bring that awareness, and in the past few days, in the past few weeks, in the past few months, what has been your predominant state in this relationship that is so important to you, so close to you? All the states that you mentioned for the stressful states, and all the states that you mentioned for the beautiful states, what has been your state in this relationship? This awareness meditation is not for judgment, but just to see the truth of your inner state of being. Now gently open your eyes. Now in this awareness meditation, how many of you are clear that in this important relationship, over 50% of your time, you are in stress? Over 50% of time, you are in a beautiful state. Beautiful. So we want over 50% of the time to be in a beautiful state. Who controls the board? Who has 51% share, right? In any company. So let's keep 51% as the marker. So if you are already at 51, 40, 51, 60, 65%, it's good. But people and students and young leaders who are in the stressful states for over 50% of the time, that needs to change. But believe me, as you become more aware and as you become more conscious, you will see that this is actually 85%, 90%. I have met thousands of youth across the world. I have met youth from South America to North America to Australia, New Zealand, to Asia, everywhere. And everyone experienced their life in a stressful state over 85% of the time. It is massive stress to perform, achieve, and make sure that I can have the best life and sustain that best life. It is a tremendous amount of stress that the youth are going through. Are you all aware that the fourth reason for death amongst the youth is suicide? Do you know that over 60% of engineers have tremendous stress about the future? 95% of doctors feel burnt out with their profession. 16% of doctors contemplate suicide. There are 30,000 diseases in the world for which over 10,000 diseases do not have any cure. And one of the most stressful things for a doctor is, what am I doing with my patient, and whatever I'm doing, is it the right thing? Is my patient going to be cured? That's a tremendous amount of stress that the doctor goes through. Today's youth are going through tremendous stress. And you have to become aware of the problem to find a solution. If as young leaders you're not aware of the problem to find the solution, then any solution you find will not be a solution at all. And I strongly believe to find solutions, you must learn to live in a beautiful state. Because when you are in a beautiful state, your mind is different, your brain is different, your thinking is different, your ideas are different, and I'll be coming to that very soon. But the first path to becoming a great leader is to master your inner state. Believe me, I work with business leaders who run $15 billion corporations. They come to India and stay with me for 5 days and go back. They wake up 4:30 in the morning, they do their yoga, they do their meditation. They are all spiritual people. And they all look for answers for the stress in life and spirituality. Spirituality is not about a certain lifestyle. Spirituality is about your inner state of being. If you can master that at a young age, I became spiritual when I was 11 years old. And today I run my spiritual work in over 100 countries. And I'm married and I have a child. And I do a lot of other things. But understand that it's all possible because of an enlightened state, a state where I can walk out of stress at will. And that is what I want to teach the young people. So if you can really understand that you're only living in these two states, then you will make it very, very important that you will want to live in a beautiful state. Because if you're in a stressful state, science today has proven that your brain actually becomes smaller. If you're in a stressful state, science has today proven that your immunity is weak and you can get diseases. If you're in a stressful state, science today has proven that you age much faster. But whereas if you're in a beautiful state, your aging slows down, your brain grows, and your immunity is actually much more powerful. You are a blessing to this whole world. This is science now. The second most important thing that I want to teach you today is difference between challenge and suffering, difference between problem and suffering. You know, people all over the world confuse problem and suffering, and they think it's one and the same. Problem is always external. Suffering is always internal. You have invested in stock market. The stock market is starting to collapse. What is the problem? Stock market is the problem. But what happens to you? You suffer because you feel you are going to be a failure. How many people should I go and now answer? And how many people are going to judge me that I am a stupid, I'm an idiot, oh, I should have taken my stocks out earlier. But you're not addressing the problem. Let us say you all become graduates and you have a great idea and you want to now find investors for this idea. Is that a problem or a suffering? Problem. You went to 10 VCs and all the 10 VCs said no to you. Is that a problem or suffering? How many of you problem? It's a problem. Since you could not find VCs for your investment, you moved into sadness and depression. Is that suffering or problem? Suffering. Since you moved into sadness and depression, you started to overeat and became fat. Is it a problem or suffering? It's a problem. Because you became obese and fat, now you started to feel very lonely because you started feeling people are judging you. Is it suffering or problem? Because now you're lonely, you're now not connecting with your family and friends, you're now disconnecting from them. Is that a problem or suffering? Problem for your family, suffering for you. So understand that problem and suffering are two different things. You don't need to suffer to solve a problem, but humanity suffers. The second there is a problem, you move into suffering. The reason humanity suffers is because humanity is still not learned the art of becoming free of stress. It is very easy and simple. As your brain changes, as your mind changes, as your consciousness changes, you can become free of your suffering and handle problem from a very intelligent space. I will give you a great example. One of my students, his name is Rob, and he is 8 times Emmy Award winner. He is one of the greatest documentarians in the world. He works for National Geography. He came to me with 3 problems. First problem, I want to commit suicide. Second problem, I am not connecting with my daughters. Third problem, I have lost all my passion in my life. This man started to document when he was 20 years old, and even now he's a great documentarian. Long story short, 20, 21 years old, in the similar field, he met a girl. You know, you say that, right? In the first look, I felt connected. There was some connection happening. So he felt connected to this girl. The girl felt connected to him. They got married. They had a child. 1 year later, the connection was lost. He felt, what am I doing with my life? I'm just 22, 23 years old. I'm having a son. Now I'm having a daughter. And my life is to become a great documentarian. My life is to become successful. My life is to make this money. What am I doing with my life? I made a big mistake. I should not have got married. So what did he do? Divorced. Carried on with his life. His daughter grows up into a human being who is lacking father's love, lacking mother's love, who does not understand why, father left, what's happening here. Very, very young, right? So she grows up into a stressful, deep, suffering human being. And our man, Rob, realizes very, very late that he has made a huge mistake. Now he has a daughter who is in a suffering state, who is in deep loneliness and pain. So after 20 years, he wants to reconnect. He wants to seek forgiveness. He wants to somehow support this young girl. But now, Rob again falls in love 10 years later, again meets somebody, eye-to-eye connection, and has 2 more kids. Okay, 2 daughters again. But as those daughters are growing up, he's now focused on the earlier daughter, and he wants to make sure that this relationship is fine. He does everything that he can. His daughter also grows into a documentarian. He gets her a job because of his connections, does everything he can, and actually brings her very close to his house. She stays 5 minutes away from his house and tries to heal. But the healing does not happen. One fine day, police come, knock at his door. Actually, he drives his daughter back home, and as the daughter leaves the car, the daughter looks at the father and says, "Father, today is the last day you're seeing me." He doesn't understand because she's depressed. He feels this is the statements a depressed person makes. Next day morning, police are at his home knocking his door, letting him know that that night his daughter committed suicide. 22 years, she committed suicide. Now, being a strong Christian, he believed that guilt, I have to feel so much of guilt, that is love. And he believed that the only way he can solve this problem is by actually dying so that he can meet his daughter later in heaven and ask and seek for forgiveness. So in this suffering, he came to me. What was he going through? Was he going through suffering or was he having these problems? Exactly. What was his suffering? Guilt. And what was his understanding? That guilt is love. Can guilt be love? Guilt can never be love. Guilt is guilt, love is love. Anger is anger, peace is peace. Okay? These are all 2 different things. So going through an intense session with me for over 6 days, he understood that he is just in guilt, which is of no use. And in that guilt, he has created 3 problems in his life. Lack of passion, disconnection with his daughter, and he wanting to commit suicide. What he had to come out of was his suffering. He actually had no problem. All these were manifested, created problems. Nothing was real because he was in so much of suffering that he did something very, very wrong. Did he do something wrong? Practically, functionally, yes, right? Yes, he was not present for his daughter. That is right. But what is he doing now? Is he doing something wrong? Yes, because he's still being absent to his daughters. Exactly the same pattern is continuing. And the reason the same pattern is continuing is because he is a very stressed out human being. He has not learned the art of being free of his suffering. He has not learned the art of separating problem and suffering. You have to understand that problem and suffering are two different things. When your suffering goes away, your problem along with it goes away because you can find solutions for that problem. As this man moved out of his suffering and became free of his guilt and started to actually love his dead daughter, he went back and started something beautiful in his daughter's name. His daughter was a great swimming champion, so he went back and started to do swimming competitions around her death anniversary and started to remember her. But he became a father who was present to his children. He became a husband who was present to his wife. He got back his passion. He is in fact coming in 2 months to see me again. And this time he just wrote me a message 2 days ago saying, Krishnaji, I want to make a documentary on you and Preetaji. And I want to come back. And the reason I shared this story with you is, he is one of the most successful human beings in the documentary field. And yet all that success, all those awards, and the beautiful family, big home, cars, nothing made sense because he was in a suffering state. So whatever you have in life, you don't have in life, nothing is going to make sense to you if you are in a stressful state. Understand that as you grow up, your stress is going to grow with you. It is something that no one can avoid. As you become a parent, as you move into a family, as you move into larger organizations, more complex organizations, your stress will keep growing and growing, and that is how this world is structured. And our world is becoming more complex and complex as our population is growing, as our economic models are changing, as science and technology is growing. You know, you all might be able to live effortlessly, all you youngsters, almost 130 years, I'm told. Because you'll have so many advanced medicines and technologies to cure your diseases that you're going to live here for quite a long time. And what are you going to do? Can you believe that? Kids who are 20, 25 years old today can effortlessly live for 130 years. That's how science and medicine is progressing. So, 2 states of being, understanding that living in a no-stress state and a beautiful state is the most important thing, and then understanding that problem and suffering are 2 independent things. Can I address the problems of my life from a beautiful state? If you can master that, then you have started the process of creating a great destiny, being a great leader. Because if you are going to create or act from a stressful state, believe me, only 1 out of 10 actions are going to be right actions. The other 9 actions are going to result in more stress, more hurt, more anger, more fear. You are creating your own complex web of life in which you are caught. And once you're caught in that complex web, you can still come out if you learn these teachings and this wisdom. So you must understand that enlightenment is possible, is explainable from a consciousness perspective, from a mind perspective. But I want to take you in a journey from a brain perspective. Because ultimately, who you are is your brain. And today science has done so much of study and research on brain that you can actually change your brain to have a great mind. And if you can have a great mind, you can have a great quality of life. Because where are your thoughts present? In your mind. Where are your emotions present? In your mind. Your ideas and concepts. In your mind. Your memory. In your mind. How many of you here have gone for a mind scan? How many of you here have gone for a brain scan? So brain scan is possible. Is mind scan possible? No, because mind is the consciousness of the brain. The way you experience brain is with your mind. So if you want to have an extraordinary mind, you must have an extraordinary brain. So today science has told that the brain goes through 5 different wavelengths. And depending on which wavelength your brain is, your quality of life is dependent on that. So the first brain wavelength is called the beta brain wavelength, where your brain is beating 14 to 30 cycles per second. And scientists have called this as the monkey mind. many youngsters and many adults have this mind. So this mind is a mind that lacks attention, that lacks focus, that lacks memory capacity, that lacks connection, and that is constantly distracted. That is when somebody is talking to you or when somebody is being present with you, you are absent. Take your mobile phone. In school, looking out of the window, now auditorium is luckily closed. So this is nothing wrong with you, but humanity's brain, unfortunately for most of the time, beats at this cycle, 14 to 30 cycles per second, and it's called a monkey mind. This can be changed through meditations, through processes, through teachings. This can change. The next stage of the brain is called the alpha state. In alpha state, your brain is beating 8 to 13 cycles per second. And when your brain slows down, when your brain calms down, you become more attentive, more focused, more connected, more present, tremendous memory power, more intelligent. And today I'm going to lead you into a 10 minutes meditation at the end of the session, which can take your brain from beta state to alpha state. If your brain can move into an alpha state, then that brain is not a monkey brain anymore, which means you're more present. If you have to be successful in life, should you be present or absent? If you want to have a loving relationship in your life, present or absent? If I'm speaking to you and if you have to get the maximum out of me, present or absent? Present. For everything in life, you have to be present. If you are absent, then you're losing out on life, you're losing out on everything. Is it possible to be present always? Not at all, exactly. You can never be present always. But you can learn to be present most of the time. And for that, your brain needs to change. The third state is called the theta state. Here, your brain is beating between 4 to 8 cycles per second. And this is a state which is mastered by saints and sages and many people who meditate regularly and go through spiritual journeys. Now, in this theta state, your brain has become an antenna to the intelligence that is present in this universe. I call this as the universal intelligence. Some call it divine, some call it God, whatever it is. But today's science tells that this universe is an intelligent universe, from single-cell organism to complex organisms to the stars and the galaxies, and this entire universe is an intelligent universe. This universe is 13.5 billion years old, approximately. It's in its middle age. It's expanding and expanding, and very soon it'll start to contract. You can tap into this intelligence. If you have to learn to tap into this intelligence, your brain must be in theta state. If your brain learns to be in theta state, your brain becomes an antenna, which means you are completely calm. When you have a problem, there's no more fear in you, there's no more anger in you, there's no frustration in you, there is no irritation in you, but rather you are present to the problem in a completely calm state. And then all of a sudden, you find a solution. How many of you here know the Archimedes principle? Right? You know the way he discovered it, right? It all of a sudden happened to him while he was bathing in a tub. He lost all hope. And when he lost all hope of finding the answer for what the king had presented a problem, and he needed to find the answer, and the time was running out, and there was tremendous pressure. But a point came when he just let go of everything. And as he let go of everything, he became completely calm in the tub. And then he got the idea that the volume of water displaced from the tub is equal to the volume of his body. And that is how he can find the volume of gold present in the crown that was gifted to the king. The king wanted to know whether the gold crown is pure gold or mixed with other metals. And the king wanted him to find out without melting the golden crown. And he moved into a theta state to have that answer. He did not sit and do mathematical problems, nothing. It happened. So when you move into theta state, you become an antenna to this universal intelligence. And I am taking students into that state in my Sky calls. It's called Sri Krishnaji and Young Adults. I'm starting on January 29th. 1 hour every month, online. I'm going into 12 different subjects. It's a 1-year curriculum. I'm going into success, achievement, love, what kind of challenges, decision making, everything, 12 different subjects that I'll be guiding every month. And here I'll be going to meditation and processes with the youth of the world to teach them to move into theta state so that you can have the power to access the universal intelligence. So this is something that I'm doing for the youth of the world. Now, there's the fourth state. The fourth state is called the delta state. Delta state is where your brain is beating between 0 to 3 cycles per second. And this is not an important state because in this state you're sleeping. So when you are sleeping, your brain is beating between 0 to 3 cycles per second. It's important, but most of you youngsters don't want to sleep. You want to be awake as much as possible. But that is delta state. But science in the recent years have discovered a more powerful brain wavelength called the gamma brain wavelength. And it's divided in two categories as low gamma and high gamma. Very, very interestingly, low gamma is 30 to 80 cycles per second. Your brain is beating much more faster than in your beta wavelength. But when your brain moves into low gamma state, you become a human being who is capable of feeling compassion. Dalai Lama teaches this. Many traditions teach this. Many monks, Tibetan monks, are in high gamma, in low gamma state. They have been actually scientifically proven. Now, when you are in that state, you actually truly feel for the other. Compassion is about actually being present and listening and feeling for the other, and from that feeling, acting for the other. Nowadays, most of you feel, but then say, okay, let's look at this 10 years from now. Or tomorrow, or day after tomorrow. Come on. Chalta hai, it all happens. So come on, don't make these things big. What's the big thing? Everybody's suffering. Everybody's having problems. I have problems. You have problems. Your parents have problems. Your grandparents have. This is how life is structured. Come on, move on with it. There is no compassion. How many of you here have made a statement at least once in your life? Oh my God, the world has a dead heart. People don't have heart. Yes or no? Absolutely. Everybody would have made this statement because you're frustrated. You will make the statement. The only way you won't make the statement is when life is going 100% according to you, which it is not. We were all in COVID just 2 years ago, shut in our house with a mask. Okay, so it's not going according to us. There is stress. So, where was I? Yes, high gamma, low gamma. Thank you for that. So low gamma is where you feel compassion for the other. And we as human beings have this gift to feel compassion. We are the only species that can move into a compassion state at will. But unfortunately, it's become the most difficult thing for us. We can move into a suffering state at will. I am going to be angry with you. You did not do this properly. You did not talk to me rightly. This is not the way you behave. This is not the way you do things. Oh, come on, I don't like this. You can move into a stressful state effortlessly and put the whole world in stress. But moving into a compassionate state is a very difficult process because the brain is not supporting it. Nothing wrong with you. You have to learn to get there. And the greatest gift you can have is compassion. Believe me, when you are in that state, life is a blessing for you. The universal intelligence is your friend, and things change in your life. I have seen that in my life. Problems disappear. Not that I don't have problems, but I find solutions for my problems. It happens. Many of you think you have to work very, 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 very hard, and then you will find a solution. That's because your brain is in beta state. Exactly, because you need to think. Your brain just can't keep quiet. Oh, this is not right, this is not correct, this should not have happened, that should have happened, this is not right, I should have done this, I should not have done this. It's a problem with your brain. You'll be sitting in a class and you'll be wondering, I should not have come to class today. Maybe I should have been outside. You're outside, you'll be thinking, maybe I should have gone to class today. That is how the brain is, that is how the mind is if it is in a beta state. Then comes high gamma. High gamma are people who are enlightened. Now, when your brain is beating above 80 cycles per second, it has crossed the threshold of 80 seconds, they are in a state of oneness. For them, all division, all separation has ceased. They feel one with humanity and one with the rest of the world. It's just not an understanding, but it is an experience. You all have some kind of an understanding that we as human beings are one, and all these divisions and separations are just created by, again, whom? By people, exactly. But that is not our true nature, that is not our fundamental nature. Our fundamental nature is that we are one. The human race is one. We think alike, we feel alike, we do things in the same way. It is just that different life experiences give us different kinds of experience, states at a different. Something can give you this much happiness, the same thing can give you this much happiness. Somebody hugging you could give you this much happiness. For somebody else, it could give this much happiness. Somebody slapping you might give you a little bit of pain. Somebody else might slap back. Only the response can be different, but the way we behave, the way we feel, the way we experience life is one. We are one. This is the truth. Not just at emotional level, mind level, brain level, but even at the cellular level, we are one. You carry the information of 3 earlier generations. This is scientific today. You carry the information of your parents, your grandparents, and your great-grandparents. If your great-grandparents have lived in a state of love, that information is transferred through cells to the 3rd generation. If your great-grandparents lived in a state of fear, that is transferred through cells to the 3rd generation. And you will be transferring it to the rest of the generations. That is why it is so important that you learn to become free of this stress. Because what you're all thinking is the greatest thing I should have is a nice job, a nice relationship, nice bank balance, probably a BMW or a Mercedes car. And then I have made it in life. Yes, you have made it in life according to what life is defined by your family, your society. But believe me, you have only made it in life when you have mastered the art of living in a beautiful state. Otherwise, none of it will make sense. The leader who was with me, who runs 1 lakh crores of company, said, Krishnaji, I don't want to go back to America. I would like to stay back in India because I'm feeling joy and happiness, which I have not experienced in 55 years of my life. Very hard life. Children, drug addicts, divorced, second marriage, salary, any president, any prime minister of this country he can meet. Only private jets. Wherever he gets down, there'll be a Rolls Royce waiting, 10 more cars taking him. How many of you want that life here? Every one of you, right? But he was one of the most saddest human beings. And don't think he's the only one. I have met so many people because they have not awakened to love, connection, compassion, peace, courage, fearlessness. There's one aspect of life that is super successful, but there are 4 aspects of life that are in a mess. And you don't want that. You want every aspect of your life to be great, be it your relationships, be it your health, be it your finances, be it your professional life, be it anything and everything. You must learn to make it successful. And the only way you can do it is from a beautiful state. So understand that if your brain changes, your mind changes. If your mind changes, your state changes. If your state changes, your mind changes. If your mind changes, your brain changes. And today I'm going to lead you into a small meditation where you can move from beta state to alpha state. It's called the Soul Sync meditation, designed by Sri Pritaji and practiced by millions across the world. But before I get there, I'm opening up the session for questions. You can ask me any questions you want and I'll be happy to answer. Yes?
Hi.
Yes.
So I just want to know, whenever you talk to people who have so much suffering in life, okay, who has so much suffering in life, so does it happen for solving their problem, you'll have to feel their suffering?
No? Okay.
Because you have to see from their perspective first. Okay, what is their story? How has he has ended up in this situation? And does it create anxiety for you? And before solving any problem, do you consider lots of perspectives, different perspectives? on the same problem.
You're talking about my personal problem, you're talking
No,
about the
for
person's
other
problem.
also and
Other
for
also.
yourself also.
Yes.
Because this is something like even, you know, like the therapist.
Mhm.
Okay. So when they do counseling and everything,
Yes.
so there's lots of anxiety because they are
Yes.
talking to like lots of people
Yes.
who are already suffering and everything, and they are taking their anxiety.
Mm.
So for dealing that, they do medicine, like meditation. Sorry. Yeah. So that's my question. Like how you
Yeah.
deal with it.
Beautiful question. First of all, I don't feel stressed when I deal with people's problems and people's suffering. Uh, I'm not a therapist, so I don't put myself into your shoes. I don't try to project a scenario of what you are going through with your wife or with your husband. No, nothing like that. Okay? I am a spiritual teacher who gives the teachings as a medicine for your problem. Beyond teachings, I also take you into a process and a journey where you realize how to come out of your suffering, where you are guided by the universal intelligence, you are guided by the right atmosphere for you to come out of the entire suffering and discover the solution for your problem. So I only show you a path. My journey is only showing you a path. If I have to sit down and take the stress of everyone, I will go mad. And that means I'm not living my own teachings, I'm not practicing my own teachings. So I don't do all that. I don't do therapy at all. So therapy is, yes, that is one angle of doing it, but unfortunately, in that angle, you don't find the solution. It is very, very difficult to go through 10 different people, be in 10 different shoes, and try to understand what they went through. Beyond a point, it becomes very mechanical. You start to assume and presume things. So I don't do that at all. I only present teachings for your suffering. So if you are in guilt, I will be able to clearly show you why you are in that guilt. Not because of what you did, but rather because of your thought process. If you are in anger, I will show you how to come out of that anger, not because something happened to you, but because of your thought process that you've gotten used to. A particular kind of thought process that you've gotten used to, that you got habituated with from a very young age. So that makes you angry for every small thing and big thing. So I make you aware of the thought process. I make you aware of, and if it's beyond thought process, which is like a samskara, which I just told you, that it's coming from your great-grandparents, then you have a mystical journey into that process, where you discover exactly which grandparent had that problem and where it started. So, I give this example. I have a very wonderful student from New York. He's actually Chennai based, but he's a very successful venture capitalist in New York. He runs a $2 billion fund. And he has a huge problem. He had a huge problem, and that problem was he always felt he'll become poor. Massive home in Miami, everything, $2 billion of. But he always used to feel he'll become poor, and that his children, 2 children, will also become poor, and that he won't have enough money to educate them, and everything will go horrible. So when he came to ACOM, and when he went through a process, he said, I want to become free of this fear. So he went through a journey with me for many days, for 7-8 days. But in one of the processes he discovered, as he was in ACOM, as he was asking the divine or the universal intelligence to help him, a sudden mystical process began in him. And he saw 3 generations ago, his great-great-grandfather was actually in Burma, and they were very, very wealthy people in Burma. And Burma, unfortunately, went into some kind of communal war, and their homes were all burnt. So his great-grandfather lost the home, lost his business, lost everything, and became poor. He became so poor that he had to work in a rice mill, and at the end of the day, he had to pick up the fallen grains from the rice mill, take it back home, give it to his wife to cook food for his children. Now, the grandfather went through an intense experience of being rich and becoming poor, and the fear gripped him. And that fear was transferred for 3 generations. Today, the great-great-grandson is rich, super successful, but that fear that I'm going to lose everything continued in him. So this is something that I cannot put myself in his shoes or take any perspective to heal him. This is beyond that. So we take people through that intense journey where this person became free of his samskara. Samskara means something that is coming from your ancestors. A negative samskara can come, a positive samskara can come. Both are possible. So that is the journey. So this is a very different journey. When you go to therapy, you are basically being given a psychological way of solving a problem. Mostly therapy is about managing suffering. You are managing suffering. Spirituality is about freedom from suffering. Those are two different things. You have diabetes, you are managing diabetes. That is managing suffering so that other diseases don't come. Spirituality is about finding freedom from diabetes itself. So that is what it is. So managing suffering is different, escaping suffering is different, finding freedom from suffering is totally different. Escaping suffering is addictions. Managing suffering can be addictions or becoming chalta hai attitude. Okay, it happens to everybody. What's the big deal? Or coming up with reasons. God wanted me to be punished, so I'm getting punished. Or this is karma. So these are reasons you use to continue in that suffering state. But spirituality is about finding freedom from suffering. That you need a lot of wisdom, meditations, true spirituality. Next question. Yes.
Namaskar, Krishnaji. My name is Harin. While this young leaders, when I meet young leaders, young entrepreneurs, and nowadays journey of startups.
Yes.
So when I feel young generation, they are very influenced by social media and other platforms, OTT and other things, and they feel after my graduation or something like that, they see 2-3 reels of Shark Tanks and they want to be a VC company. They start that company and something like that, but they don't have vision for that.
Yes.
How spirituality can enhance their career or develop in that. Because I saw, just a second, sir.
Yes.
My question is particularly for youth is,
Yes.
while they are into the business, starting up the business, and when they get the failure, they are not able to handle that kind of failure, what they see on social media.
Yes.
So I want your advice to this young youth.
Sure.
Thank you so much.
Sure. See, it's just not failure from business today. It's failure in relationships, failure in health, failure in finances, failure in the family support system. Everything is causing tremendous stress in the youth today. Yes, social media is having a very bad influence because social media is all about projecting the good things. When somebody takes a selfie smiling, the next second they're fighting. But for a selfie, so everything you see, unfortunately, is very wrong, is fabricated, exactly. It's fabricated because none of you would want to look bad on social media. You want to be loved, you want to be liked. So that means you have to look something that you are not. So if you're naturally like that, then it's a different story. But today's problem the youth are facing is comparison. Because of social media, there's tremendous amount of comparison, and there is this wrong understanding that I can get there very quickly. That's never going to happen. See, human species itself took 13.498 billion years to come. We're only 2 million year old species. The planet, the universe is 13.5 billion years old. So we did not come flying out from the Big Bang. Oh, here I'm coming, as a species, and straight into Ahmedabad, sitting in this chair. It took you 13.5 billion years to be here. So nothing is fast, nothing is going to be quick. It's going to take time. But unfortunately, the economy of today, the way the world is structured economically, the way they know one emotion that can be played with, and that emotion is greed. You can have this. You can become this. This is easy for you. And unfortunately, when you start believing that without a state, without the understanding what it takes to be there, and with tremendous amount of comparison, comparing 1 in a million who has made it. You all know that if 100 businesses start, 99 fail. But you will not look at the 99 that failed because you believe I am going to be that one.
Yes.
How many of you go to a nice love story movie and say, yes, this is the way my life is going to be? Right? Why are super hit movies love movies? Because you move into that imagination. That 2 hours. What a movie, what a movie. From the day I was born, I didn't feel this love. But in this movie, I felt it. It's so sad that a movie had to give you that experience. Well, those two are not in love at all. They're doing it for money. But you get that experience because that's how the brain is designed. So anyway, understand that as long as you're comparing and you're coming from a comparison mode, your state is one that of comparison, you are going to be rushing with things. There is no vision there. There is no passion there. All that is there is comparison. That person has it. I need to get it. And you will go there, and then you will start seeing at the next person and say, oh my God, I don't have that. I need that now. So it just doesn't stop. And that's the problem with an unenlightened mind. An enlightened mind is a mind which knows what exactly it wants and how exactly it can get it and how I'm going to get it. It's not born from comparison. You are passionate about it. Yes, you can compare for data. You need to compare for data, you can compare. That's fine. But you're not driven by that comparison. And unfortunately, today's youngsters, you're killing yourself with comparison. And unfortunately, the system compares you. Your family compares you. Education system compares you. Everybody compares you because that's the way the whole system is. We can't change that. But can we change the way you feel from that comparison? Yes, that you can. By growing spiritually, yes, these things need not impact you. By sitting here, if I'm going to say, okay, are these people comparing me with somebody else who came and spoke yesterday? I don't even know who came. Why should I care? All that I'm here for is I love doing this work, love interacting with all of you, do whatever I can to make the needle move towards the betterment of the world. That is it. That's my passion and that's my vision. There's nothing to compare. You have to grow to that stage. But social media has a huge influence. So be careful because everything you see in social media is not real, including yourself. Time acha? Okay. So we're running out of time, I'm told, but because everything... Okay, please. We'll take one or two questions. I'll give short answers. Yes, he raised his hand first. Or somebody took the mic? Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Sorry.
I am not in control and I have to be cool.
Namaste, Krishnaji.
Yes.
As we're talking about anger, sadness, and suffering,
Yes.
Sometimes we feel sad and sometimes we feel anger.
Yes.
And I personally, as we grew up, personally for me, as I grew up, I forget that there is a difference between feeling sad and feeling angry. So as I was meditating today, I literally, after 20 minutes, I cried.
Okay.
I literally cried, but I didn't know why I cried. Maybe I was expecting a lot with myself. Maybe
Okay.
I have set my bars too high. Was that the reason, or maybe just I was feeling a little too behind from my friends and whatever I was feeling? I was comparing myself with
Yes.
everyone. So I want to know why, how should I stop it? Like,
See, don't try to stop it. The first step in any kind of transformation is to become aware of it. We always want to stop things and change things and make a U-turn quickly, only to find that you're only circling, you know? So the first thing is just become aware of it. Become aware that your mind has got habituated to comparing.
yes.
Human mind, different minds have different things. Some have got habituated to anger easily, some fear easily, some frustration easily, some sadness easily. But yours is comparison, let's say. Just become aware of that it is an unnecessary activity of the mind. This is a habit. Just like smoking is a habit, alcohol is a habit, they say, right? The first drink is in your control. After that, the drink controls you. In alcohol, only the first drink you are saying, okay, let me have it or no. And then after you have had it, it's controlling you. You see it, you want to have it. It's saying, come, come, come. So it's a habit. You have to, so brain can learn to break this habit. The way you learn to break this habit is by awareness. As you start to see that you're constantly comparing, you will start seeing it's unnecessary. It is something that's happening routinely. So I will teach you the meditation now. If you do this meditation, that neurons in your brain, that connection that has formed with regard to comparison will snap, and new connections will form where this whole comparison thing is much lesser. Okay, so that's the first step, becoming aware. That itself is enough.
Thank
Your
you.
comparison will reduce.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Okay. So if someone let me know how much time I have, I'm happy to answer, but... Okay, so we'll do 15 minutes max. Yes.
Pranam Shri Krishnaji.
Yes.
I wanted to ask you, how do we deal with guilt? This is something which basically, I have an understanding that guilt is basically conditioning.
Yes.
And about the good and the bad.
Yes.
But then still we do feel guilty
Yes.
in situations, and then it becomes very intense.
Yes.
So how do we deal with that?
You need to come to a course. Yes. See, everything is conditioning. Guilt, anger, fear. We are all conditioned people. We are conditioned by our society, by our religion, by our culture, by our parents. Everything is books, movies, everything is conditioning us constantly. When you are ruled by conditioning, you are basically living a life with tremendous stress because you're trying to fit into those conditionings. So coming to guilt, guilt is a conditioning. But the way you become free of guilt is by going through a journey. So one of the things, one important teaching I will give you is guilt is about self-obsession. Okay? So when you start observing, you will see that you are constantly going about yourself. I should not have done this. I should not have done this. I should have behaved like this. I should have spoken like this. So it is only about you. You are really not bothered about what happened to the other. Yeah. So guilt is an emotion where it is total self-obsession. As you see the truth that you are really not connecting to anybody and you're just going about yourself, you become free of guilt because it's about you.
Thank you. Thank you,
Okay.
Shri Krishnaji. Thank you.
We'll take one. He has been white T-shirt he has been raising white T-shirt behind, and then we will.
Yeah, thank you so much. Couple of questions. So I'm
Couple of questions. One question.
Fine, one question.
Okay.
ठीक है. Someone who is going to enter the job market very soon, right?
Yes.
So I want to know how do I, and it's a kind of job where you have to work long hours, 12, 13, 14 hours a day, and people have a lot of expectations from you. How do you think, which is I'm kind of signing up for a stressful job in the first place. So what do you think would be the right way to navigate through that?
See, a lot of people come and ask me, Krishnaji, do you have a formula? Formula for a beautiful, balanced life. I say, I have no formula. That is, I have to feel completely happy with my job, with my kids, with my family, with everything. There's no formula at all. Now, whether you're doing 6 hours of job, 1 hour of job, or 12 hours of job, it is your state. Understand that it's not the job that is giving you the stress. It is your state that is making you stressful about the job. It's the reverse, okay? Because you're not enjoying what you're doing, and you've got a lot of other things to be addressed to. So life is so big that you feel, oh my God, I'm just wasting my time in this job. So you have to learn the art of living in a beautiful state and learn whether 12 hours is important for you, 6 hours is important for you, 3 hours is important for you. That is a decision you need to make from a beautiful state. Then the job you're doing will make sense to you. But if you are going to make the decision based on money, based on finances, based on what others are going to say, then that job is going to be stressful to you because you're doing it from others' perspective. And you're doing it from what is life expecting of you. So you're living for others' sake, right? There's tremendous stress what others are thinking. You have to understand that you have to learn to live in a beautiful state. And then choose your job. Even if it's 12 hours, you'll enjoy it. Because in a beautiful state, this is what I need to do. This is what is expected of me, and this is what I need to do, and this is what I want to do. Because this is important for me. Working 12 hours next 10 years, making this money and getting to this place is important for me. So that clarity you must have. That means you must connect to your job. You must connect to what you're doing. And then you must have communication happening with everybody in the system. If you can have that communication happening, then life becomes easy. If you don't have communication happening, you have a lot of hurt and anger going on, then there's tremendous amount of stress again. I work 18 hours a day. Every day. As soon as I go back now, I start off my US calls because they wake up. Just like you. Many of you might be working late nights, but I have chosen, yes, this is how it is. Okay. So we will move into the soul sync meditation. It's a very important meditation for you to move from beta state to alpha state. It is only 10 minutes. If you're not interested, you don't need to participate, but don't disturb the other person because the other person can be benefited from this. So you can just remain silent and look at the ceiling or look at anything. But I would strongly recommend that if you can participate and learn this, it will be tremendous. Now, this is a scientific meditation. It is of 8 cycles, okay? Every in-breath and out-breath, you keep moving your thumb from index finger, middle finger, ring finger to a little finger. So inhale and exhale, inhale and exhale, inhale and exhale. Every time I say, you keep moving. It's 8 cycles. Okay, you do it for 8 times. The first time we are doing, we are going to be inhaling and exhaling. You will just bring your awareness to the breath of inhaling and exhaling. Second time when we are doing, as you inhale, you will inhale. As you exhale, you will say, you will make that noise. When you make that noise, the nitrous oxide present in your sinuses will be released. And when it's released, it completely calms your nervous system. Your entire agitated nervous system because of stress, fear, anger, comparison calms down. So that we will do for 8 times in the second stage. The third stage, as you breathe and breathe out, you will bring attention to the pause between the breath, inhalation breath and the exhalation breath. We all have a pause. We don't breathe. We don't breathe like this, okay? Yes or no? How many of you breathe like that? No. We breathe, there's a pause, and then you exhale. So this trains your mind and your brain for awareness and attention. So that we do for 8 times. Fourth stage, you breathe in, breathe out. As you breathe out, you say aham. Aham means I am not this limited self, but I am much beyond this. I am this expanded self. I am this entire universe. That is what aham means. So you feel that you're expanding to your friends, to your family, to everybody, to nature, and your self is expanding. That is 8 times. Fifth stage, you will visualize you becoming a golden light. You, everyone around you, becoming a completely golden light. And after that, in the 6th stage, you will hold one intention, one single intention that you want in your life. It could be a job, it could be love of your life, it could be memory, it could be health, it could be anything. Hold that one intention and see that intention has already happened. Okay, so this is soul sync meditation. It is 6 stages. Any questions? Simple, right? Okay, let's begin the meditation. Please close your eyes. You don't need to count. As I say, inhale and exhale, you keep moving. So we start with this. I will be guiding you. Next time when I say inhale, exhale, you move. No, the last 2 stages you don't move. The first 4 stages you move. The last 2 stages you are just like this. That is it. You can do white light, no problem. To give a color to light. That's it. Yeah. You normally see light in yellow color or white color. So that's all. Okay. So please close your eyes. Sit in a comfortable position, preferably with your spine erect. Bring your thumb and the index finger together. And let's begin the first stage of soul cycle, soul sync. Inhale. Exhale. 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 Now let's move to the second stage. As you inhale and exhale, we'll be making the sound Inhale. 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 Now we'll move to the third stage of the soul sync meditation, where you'll bring awareness to the pause that's happening between your inhale and exhalation. Inhale. Exhale. 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 Now we'll move to the fourth stage of soul sync meditation, where as we exhale, we will make the sound hum. Inhale. 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 keep your index finger and the thumb together and imagine becoming a golden light. A golden light filling your brain, your mind, your body, your every cell of your body. And you're becoming a golden being, a golden light. Now, as you are in that state, remember your intention, one most important intention that you want in your life, and see that intention becoming a reality. Now slowly bring back your attention to your breath and holding a smile on your face, gently open your eyes. Now this is soul sync meditation. It's only 10 minutes. How many of you here are feeling calm? Your brain has moved to alpha state, which means right now your brain is beating between 8 to 13 cycles. It's calmed down. I should have done this first, huh? It's calmed down, it's paying more attention, everything around is becoming more richer, more beautiful. Your brain is perceiving the same reality very differently. If you can do this once or twice a day, before going to bed or after you wake up, just 10 minutes give yourself. You're not praying or doing anything, no religious stuff. You're just transforming your brain, whereby you're transforming your mind, whereby you're transforming the quality of your state, whereby you are transforming the quality of decisions you will make, and you will be present to others. You will be a great gift and light to the world. What you need is you have to become the light to the world, instead of expecting everybody else to become that and then I'll become happier. Don't do that. You know, there's a very important, very interesting, this is one of the law of consciousness. I teach people all around the world many laws, but one law, in the subatomic world, if you see, scientists are baffled that everything is reversed in the subatomic world. So that is, you would have actually come first for my talk and then gone back home. You came from your home for my talk, but in the subatomic world, it's the reverse. The effect precedes the cause. So you would have attended my talk first and then gone back home. So if I push this water, in the subatomic world, the water falls first, and then I would have pushed the water. In the same way, you are all thinking that I need the right job, I need the right pay, I need the right partner in my life, I need beautiful parents to be wonderful with me, I need the governments to be nice, I need everything to fall in place, then I can feel very happy, peaceful, and calm. Is that ever going to happen? No, it's not going to happen. And even if you have these things in place, believe me, you'll ask, is this my life? What am I doing with my life? Everything seems so perfect. I don't like this. Understand that just like the subatomic world, you have to first find happiness. It's the reverse. You need to learn to live in a beautiful state. If you can master that art, then every aspect of your life will start to fall in order. Because the decisions you make, the actions you take, at least 80% of the time, will be right decisions and right actions. And you will not be bothered about the outcome because your conscience is clear that you did the right thing. You were present and you did the right thing. And that can only happen from a beautiful state. So understand the state comes first, then comes your results. That is life. It's like the subatomic world. If you can change that, your life will be beautiful and you'll be the greatest gift. So do this meditation for 21 days at least so that your brain can change and continue it for the rest of your life. We have seen students, elders, so many people's life transformed just by 10 minutes of this meditation. And if possible, join my Sky Calls and please come to Ekam when you can. I came all the way for you. You know, it took me almost half a day to come here from the time I started in my ashram. So you come to see me, and we will have some good time, talk more, discuss more. Questions are over. Okay? Wonderful seeing you all. And yes, please. Thanks. Yes.
What a feast to the mind, body and soul. Krishnaji, really it was a wonderful and very, very useful for all of us for giving this a talk which make us at least today that what is the difference between the state of mind, beautiful state, and the stressful state, giving a very creamy example of problem and suffering. Problem is external, suffering is internal. Very beautifully you explain, sir. So enlightenment is very, very important, and that is the living in a stress-free state. And you have taught us that is the ekam, oneness, that is in tune with infinite. Really, we are very thankful to have such a great speaker today evening. I'm also thankful to the audience for keeping that patience.
Yes.
Really indeed appreciable. On behalf of all of you, on behalf of AMA, we are very grateful and thankful, and I request the audience for a thundering round of applause.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good night. Have a happy time and joyous time ahead.
Wonderful seeing you all. One of my best interactions and beautiful audience. Your presence, your questions, the way you did the meditation, it's fantastic. Many of you here are so serious, and my blessings and my love to each and every one of you. Go out there, create a great life from a great state. Namaste to all of you. Namaste.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Krishnaji,
Oh, yes.
for this beautiful mystic process. Please give him a huge round of applause. तालियों में कंजूसी नहीं होनी चाहिए.
See you all.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you, sir. Thank you, Krishnaji.
Oh, yes. Wonderful seeing you all. Bye-bye. Love to all of you. Bye. Namaste. Bye.